So 26 Rue Saint-Fargeau, that's the title of the film. That's also an address, and that's an address which is in Paris, and where there's very important social estate with 300 flats. And this building, I'm really related to it because my two grandmothers used to live there, two very different women, and I grew up there, going from one floor to another and experiencing this building in a very rich way culturally. At some point, I felt like I wanted to keep a trace of this place. And so I started recording first conversation with my grandmother, just with a sound recorder. And then I started to actually knock at people's doors from all over the place, from every level of the building, and starting to meet people who were living in this building and having conversation about the relationship they have to this place, whether it's the building itself or their inner space or the relationship with the neighbors and so on. So the film started with just me exploring the building with a sound recorder, and then out of all those hours of interviews, I decided to make some kind of a sound film. I kept some parts of the dialogues and I created an ongoing dialogue between different people. And then was the second phase of the project, was the images. I went there with my DOP, Alexandre L'église. We decided to shoot the film in 16mm.
L'appartement me plaît, ce qu'il y a dedans aussi. Non, moi je suis pas malheureuse là.
And also visually, one stake that we had was not to film the people, because I didn't want to make a film about some individualities, but rather about the diversity, cultural diversity that you can have in a building, and I wanted to show it by filming the place rather than the people. And so we can hear the voices, we can hear their tales, and then it belongs to the spectator to imagine who the person is and to complete all the lacks that they are in terms of narrative, visual narrative at least.
De mon arrivée dans cet appart, waouh! Eh bien, c'est très simple. J'étais gravement accidenté de la route. Je ne trouvais pas de logement. Je suis arrivé avec mes béquilles dans l'agence.
This building could be actually any building in the world in some way. Like, it is 26 Rue Saint-Fargeau, which is a very precise place, but it could be any social estate in Paris, in France, in Europe, or even in the world. It's actually a place that gather a lot of different cultures. Maybe it's stronger in Paris than other places because we have such a beautiful palette of people coming from all around the world. But there's a character in the film, a person in the film who's talking at some point. I really like this image of when there's the World Cup, you can see on every balcony flags from every country. And to me, that this is really what this building is and what this kind of social estate can represent. It's really that from the outside, it looks like a square, like any building. But on the inside, it's just, how do you say, a rainbow of stories from all around the world.
Genre, bon, déjà les poubelles, c'est moi qui les descends, ça c'est officiel, c'est moi les boueurs de la maison. Je suis l'informaticien, le plombier, les boueurs, je fais tout.
Obviously, it's a subjective film, I would say, like every film. And if it has to represent me in a way, perhaps I would say it's related to the relationship that I had to the people and the kind of, like, the approach that I had to meet them first, to take time to know them, to create a safe place for them to confess. And also to make a film that's not voyeuristic, where we don't see them, where I'm not trying to capture things from them. It's more like creating like a safe environment for them to give what they have to give. And I think the fact that they were not filmed really allowed this peace and generosity from them as well, meaning that they were not aware of the camera, what they look like, and, you know, it's just a voice that they're giving, and also some intimacy because we're filming their apartment. But I would say if there is a little bit of me in terms of subjectivity in this film, I would say it's this kind of very peaceful, intimate relationship, one-on-one, that I tried to create, and perhaps some kind of a lot of love for the characters, and some optimism maybe as well, although not everything is simple.